Hello everyone, it's Mrs. MLG here from Mighty Lancer Games. Before we get started, please leave me a like, a comment and hit that subscribe, that would be awesome. Today I wanted to talk to you about our Space Marine. We've made this for our window because we thought, why not, it might be cool. Unfortunately, all we had was things in the house. There was no particular planning that went into this, as per usual with the Mighty Lancer Games family, so we just cracked on to see what would happen. We used old cardboard boxes. These here that you can see are literal scraps of foam that we had in the craft cupboard. We also used the hot glue gun. Ours is rather pathetic and doesn't really work very well, but you know, it was still there. And black tape, bit of old black tape, that was good. We rolled up the cardboard to make the body, and we also did that to make the arms. We wanted the arms to be jointed because we wanted it to sit behind a table and hold a comic book for our window display. Because on the window, take a look at the other video that I made, a short, we painted onto the window that we sold comics. So we wanted our Space Marine to sit in the window and hold a comic book like he was reading it. And then we thought over time we could change that up so he could be doing different things. So here we are making the arms. We wanted them to be jointed so that he would sit and hold this book. As you can see on the table there, we've got various bits of cardboard. This is what we had to work with. This was the extent of our tools and bits and pieces that we had. So we continued to work with the cardboard boxes, and then we made fingers from rolled bits of cereal box. Now, as you saw there, they had lines on. Can you see that black line there? There were where we were going to slit down to fold in the top, just like I've got there, look, fold in the top to try and make the fingers. And then we joined those together with a strip of cardboard inside so that the fingers looked like they had joints in, looked like they would move as much as we possibly could with what we had to hand. There we go, making a little mock-up book to see if he would sit and hold that and look in the window. Then we began to work more on the head. Now, neither of us were particularly happy with the head at this point. We thought it was too tall, but it's what we had, so we cracked on with what we had there. At either side of its head there are two plastic tubs that some putty came in that little Miss likes to play with. So this is the idea, him sitting at a table in the window, looking all good, hopefully. Then we made some shoulder pads again out of an old cardboard box, made some slits and folded them over and glued them at the top there with hot glue. Please be careful if you do this with hot glue and knives. Then we decided that the head again didn't look quite right, and that was beginning to bug us now. So we basically destroyed the original head. We took off the beaky little bit at the front and we took off the sides. We took off some of the height simply by making the slits and folding it down and making the top smaller. And we decided that this design for our Space Marine would look better, hopefully. So we made his little grill at the front instead, and we stuck the sides back on with the little plastic pots, and we used the cardboard that we had to fill in some of the spaces. This was the only thing that we actually went out and purchased. So we wanted to fill in the gap that was between his elbow, and we couldn't find anything, so we got some of those polystyrene balls. We primed them because the spray that we were going to use would have eaten through the polystyrene, so we primed them and then they could be put inside his elbows and fill in that gap. We then also used paper mache to fill in the gaps along the shoulder pads and at the very top there, so that when we sprayed him here, which we're using Colourforge spray, Tempest Blue, which of course you can get at mightylancergames.co.uk, so we filled in them paper mache so that we could spray. This is the first time that I've ever used this Vallejo liquid gold painting. It was really good. I mean, I am only painting cardboard, remember, but I did really like it. It's very runny, very shiny, very easy to work with. I like that. So we use that to paint all of the detail in on our Space Marine. Then we had to decide what eye colour. So green or red, what would you go with? If you picked, what would you go with? These are sweet wrappers that were used for the eyes. Then we had to make the comic book that the Space Marine was going to hold. So this was an old comic book that we had, obviously not one that was for sale in the shop. And we made the comic book for him to hold. Now, he didn't hold it as well now as he did originally, but he was still giving it a good go. So here we go. This is Steve the Space Marine. Do you like Steve? What do you think to Steve there? Now, we had to take him to the shop now. So I had to get him in the car, which meant taking his head off, which was fine because the shoulder pads come off too. You see that grid wall there? We've got to get him at the other side of that. I climbed into the window with him just so that he didn't feel alone. And then we realised that we hadn't made him a table yet. So we used this bit of old plastic board stuff that we had kicking around that wasn't any good for anything. Chopped it to length because the window's small and made him a table. And here is Steve sat in the window with his comic in our shop in Bridlington. Let me know in the comments below what you think to Steve and our effort of bits of old cardboard and glue making Steve the Space Marine. And don't forget to come visit us in King Street in Bridlington and see Steve for yourself. Thank you so much and take care.